I'm Hector from KuFlow, and in this video tutorial we are going to generate a workflow with our diagram tool. For this time, as a use case, we are going to use a vacation request with the authorization of a supervisor. The first thing we are going to do is go to Administration, Process, and we will add a new one. We will provide it a name and a description. We save and edit. Now, we have to add the task of our workflow. We are going to need a form, a decision, an approval message, and a rejection message. Let's start with the first one. We will put a name, and a description, and it must have a code that will be the name of our form object. We will edit it, and we will add the candidates. That can be users or groups that should use or execute the task. Now, inside the form, we will add a series of elements to complete it. The first will be the name, and as a code, the object name will be first name. And this will be an object, or an element of the type field, of text, with mandatory characters. We repeat the operation now for the surname. We place a name, and we select the type of field that will be text and mandatory. We will add another slightly different element. It will be the start and end date of the vacation period to be requested. It will be a field, this time a date field. We repeat the operation, but for the end date, remember that all must be mandatory. We save and go back to edit the process. We add a new task that will be the decision. We also add a description and code to it. We save and edit. As in the previous task, we will select the candidate that can be a group or users. In this time, the decision, and we will add an element. We give it a name and put a code on it. In the type, instead of being a field, it will be a decision. The decision gives us the possibility of adding different answers to a question. In this case, we will have two, which will be the approval and the rejection. Remember that it has to be a mandatory field, and we will add a second element that will be the reason in the case of rejection, so that it's specified why the request was rejected. It will be a text type field. In this case, it will not be mandatory, since the reason may or not be entered. We save and return to the process to edit. We add a new task. It will be the task for the approval message. It will have a description and a code. We save, we edit and select the candidates. We save and go back to the process to edit it. Now we add a rejection. We also add a description and a code. We save, edit, and select the candidates. We will add an element that will be the reason why it was rejected. It is a text field, but this time only for reading, since it will be the message that comes from the decision. We save the process, we edit it, and now we do have all the elements to be able to start working with the workflow editor, which is our work tool. What we are going to do is open the editor and we are going to find a canvas with different nodes. Some are by default and others are the ones that represent the task that we added for the browser. As every workflow must have a start node, then the tasks that we generate will go, such as the application form, then the decision form, then the decision to know if it is going to be approved or not. We will use the condition node here because based on the response we get from the decision task, we will choose one of two paths to follow. One will be the one of approval and the other will be the one of rejection. Finish, we need to mark the end of the process. That will be with the end node. Joining with arrows, we are going to direct how our workflow will happen. As we can see, our follow currently has errors. That is because we need to provide certain information to it. Now we are going to talk a bit about the JQ command and its console, which is used to transform the metadata of JSON files into a human-readable format. All of this is based on filters that are applied to the metadata. We are going to start with an easy one, which will be the rejection message, where we will have to upload the information of the reason why said rejection was generated. We will select the rejection node and we will see in the right menu elements, in this case, the reason. If we click on test, it will open a new tab with the JQ command console. In the upper part, we will have the filters that will be the area where we will be loading all the information. Below, we have raw information from the JSON file. In this case, it is all example information, but we will be able to work on them. On the right, we have the console, which shows us the result of everything we write. If we write form 1, it will show us all the metadata information that is contained in this title. If we add a point and place one of the sub-items, it will show us its contents. Now, from here, we can start working with the assignment of values to the different variables. Let's see an example. As you can see, if we assign to the variable called last name that has this value and we assign this. In the result, we will now see that the information has changed. Now in this, In the case of rejection, we have to use the reason provided by the supervisor to inform the requester using the value of the rejection text variable. Let's see an example. We copy and return to our diagram. Selecting the rejection node, we will add here the name of the variable. As you will see, a certain parameter is need to be able to specify. Specifying this, what the dollar symbol will be and the variable name in square brackets. As you will see, change from red to green inform that the syntax is correct. Now, let's go to a slightly more complex part, the condition. Like any if block, this one must have a logical test, an action in case that the test is met and another action in case that the test is not met. Let's go with an example. If we have the following, means that if the first value is equal to the second value, it will inform us they are equal. If they are different, it will show us they are different. Now we are going to change here and see how it varies depending on the condition. So, for the example that we are doing, we need values of type Boolean. And what we are going to do is to replace the text with true or false. And we see that it works in the same way. If they are the same, it will show us true, and if not, it will show us false. Now, going to the practical case, what we have to use in the condition will be how the channel of our flow, whether it's going to go towards approval or whether it's going to go toward rejection. How do we do it? With the decision block. In the decision block, we are going to inform if the if the request was going to be rejected or if it was going to be approved with a yes and a no. We are going to modify the command so that it's as follows. As you will see, being yes, it will show us a true. If we put a no, here it will show us false. That will be the command that we use in the condition to be able to go one way or the other. Let's go to the diagram. We are going to give the condition option a name, and as we said before, we have to add the $sign and bracket to go our function with our command. As you can see, the green color indicates that the syntax is correct. Now we come to a negative case. The negative case will be the default response. We will put no, and here we complete in the same way. The only difference is that instead of using yes as an answer to the first possibility, it will be no. And here our workflow will be complete. As you can see, we have no errors, so we can save it. We will also save, and now we will edit again to be able to select who will be the initiators and manager of this process. We select here. In this, it will be just me, but they can be user or group of users, and we save. Now, let's not forget to publish our process. And we're going to do the test run. We'll start a new one, vacation request. We fill out the form. And it will be sent to the supervisor, as in this case, it is me. The task appears for me to make the decision. This is where I'm going to be able to approve or reject. For this time, we will do the rejection to test the operation of the transition of the reason. It is sent, and now the applicant will receive the message. Your vacation has not been approved. And you can see the reason why the supervisor rejected the vacation. We complete the task and finish the circuit. In this video, we have learned to generate a process, add tasks, and the elements within those tasks, compose a workflow with the diagram tool, use the JQ command console to work with the JSON metadata, and test the operation of our workflow. For more information, visit our documentation section. I am Hector from KuFlow, and I am here to help you. Do not hesitate to contact me through all our social networks.